The next question that I see is let's see. Um, all right, so the next question that I see is actually from Charles Hawkins. Charles says, "Do you mind sharing your top five cryptos that you have an interest in besides Bitcoin?" Yeah, if you want to see all the cryptos that I own, if you go to drboycecrypto.com, that's drboycecrypto.com, you will see all the cryptos that I own. I took a screenshot of everything that I own. And let's see, someone's saying that they can't hear me. Give me a yes if you can hear me. Let me know you can hear me okay. Let me know if you can hear me. You can only see me if you're in class, but you can hear me if you're out of class. So give me a yes to let me know that I'm coming through okay. And I'll keep going. Okay, good. All right. So the next question is from another one from Charles Hawkins. He says, "This is an appreciation to you from me. Because of your teaching, I moved my funds to a savings from a savings to a mutual fund. Now I'm expected to make $8,500 to $9,000 per year just by you leading me to where the money resides." Oh, wow. That's awesome. I made my money back and more. I purchased Black Money 102 and the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program. Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm very happy for you, Charles. I'm really proud of you. These are the kind of success stories that we love to hear in the Black Business School, and there's thousands of them. There's thousands of you who've sent us emails and let us know how we changed your life, and we're very happy to do that. When I first started doing this stuff, I left my position at Syracuse University, because I felt that the students that were paying $60,000, $70,000 a year, that was too much to go learn about economics, and I felt that the information that I was sharing with, the white kids and the Jewish kids and the Asian kids who were going off to Wall Street and making a ton of money, I said, if Black people had this information, it would be really epic. And but the thing is, I had to kind of challenge the culture, because when I first got started doing this, a lot of people told me that you're wasting your time kind of talking about economics to the Black community because they don't have an interest in economics. And I said, well, I think I can change that. And so over the years, we were very consistent with the message, and we got a chance to go into mainstream media, everybody from the Wendy Williams show to the Breakfast Club to CNN. And lo and behold, I noticed things were changing when the rappers started rapping about wealth and ownership and economics and all that. And I said, okay, this is what's going to really turn the tide. So now you see a lot of people doing this, and I think that that's really great. And where you're really going to see the effects is probably about 30 years from now. In one generation, you're going to really see the difference, because what's happening is right now you're breeding the next generation of multimillionaires, multi-billionaires. A lot of you started investing when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe 50s or 60s, and what's happening is your kids are starting this stuff at the age of 5. We got in our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, we have literally 5-year-old kids that are not even going to remember the first time they learned, what a stock was, or first time they got their first share of stock, or when they learned to own real estate. And what's going to happen is that they're going to take the capital that you're going to put together for them. You're going to do the $5 a day investing plan or something better, which actually it's on the allblackagenda.com. The allblackagenda.com is where you can go get an ebook I wrote called the $5 a day investing plan. And they're going to take that capital, and they're going to take the knowledge you're giving them, and they're going to go and they're going to do amazing things with this money, and they're going to be able to work together and form groups and teams, because that's why we work on relationships so much, because your children, B1 children, are going to know how to form healthy relationships with other productive Black people who can go and build empires with them. That's it. That's what's going to occur, right? So we're kind of really in the beginning stages, in my view, of what this economic revolution is going to represent. It's really not going to play itself out completely for about 100 to 150 years. So I'm really thinking all the way out to the year 2200 in terms of what I know this will do for your descendants, right? So I want you to kind of keep that in mind as you're thinking about the impact of what you're doing. So congratulations to you. I'm happy that you're doing better. Your kid's going to do even better than you're doing. And by the way, where's our Black Business School for Children? It's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. If somebody could type that in, I'd appreciate it. Blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. Okay, next question from Kelvin Hall. What are your thoughts on GE's 8-to-1 reverse split? Do you think there will be a run up? Do you think GE has a chance of hitting $20? All those things nobody knows for sure, but I like GE because GE is a company that caused itself a lot of financial problems. They just made a lot of mistakes. And now, they're trying to fix those problems, and they're trying to go back and rectify some of those issues from the past. I personally think that GE is going to um, uh, end up doing better. Right? I've invested in GE for a long time, and I made a lot of money from GE. But I don't really know how well they can recover from all the problems that they created. Some of their problems are very deep, and I was really surprised because Jack Welch, the former CEO of GE, used to be known as just the best CEO of all time, like literally one of the greatest of all time. And apparently he wasn't, because the company kind of fell apart right after he left, which says to me that he put things in place that maybe were like ticking time bombs that went off after he left. And that's kind of what people do sometimes when they get in positions. Lee Iacocca was accused of this too. Was it Lee Iacocca? I think at Chrysler. I think it was him, where they the whole time he's in office, they're like, oh, he's a great CEO and this is amazing. But then later on, they find out that the reason he looked amazing was because he was basically sort of hiding his mistakes, hiding his losses. And then all that gets revealed. The skeletons fall out the closet after you move out, and everybody finds out, that you weren't as great as they thought you were. So, but I'm a believer in GE. I'm an investor in GE. And so do I think GE is going to do well? The answer is absolutely yes. Now, here's what I avoid right now. Here's what I'm really, really just I'm really angry about it, to be honest with you. Chinese companies have been just absolute garbage lately. The Chinese government has done everything in its absolute power to ruin Chinese stocks, particularly stocks that are listed in the United States. Nobody knows. All the experts are sitting around trying to figure out what the heck is going on with China, why they are disrupting entire financial markets. Basically, if you're in the tech space in China or the educational space in China, you're in grave danger as a company, because they're going to do all they can to try to make sure that you have a very hard time, that you have a really hard time doing much of anything. So what they're doing right now is a lot of the tech companies and the educational service providers are basically being hit with all these investigations and regulations. And in fact, in the educational tech industry, they did something that was really extraordinary. They actually told them that they all have to become nonprofits. I mean, that freaked me out. I've never seen anything like that before, where they took a company that was public and said, we want you to be private now. And so, if I were you, here's my point. Here's my conclusion. I'm not telling you what to do, but this is my 2 cents. I wouldn't invest anything in China. Like, I would totally avoid any Chinese companies. That goes all the way from Alibaba, Tencent, JD, Neo, even just whatever company that you love in China. I would try my best to fall out of love with China, because it's like dating a girl that lives in the most dangerous part of the city, where you might get shot trying to go to her house, right? Like, you're up in South Central somewhere back in the 1980s, and you live in Crip territory. She lives in blood territory. That's just a girl you shouldn't be dating, because right now the U.S. and China are kind of what the Crips and the Bloods used to be. Now it seems like they're doing better. So shout out, I'm very happy to see they're finally realizing that they're all black and they're getting along and doing better. But back in the day, you know what I mean? It was just crazy, right? Well, China and the United States are starting to just basically form rival factions, and it's not just economic; it's also deeply political. It's becoming military. The Chinese are building nuclear weapons and things like that. So they're kind of gearing up for war with the United States. And one battlefront of that war is it's the stock market. So I don't want you to get caught in that battle. Now, here's the thing: if the Chinese government does back off, if they decide, okay, we've regulated this industry enough, let's move on to something else, then these stocks can actually become great investments if you're lucky, right? You can get really lucky, and maybe these companies will become the best thing you ever invested in, because the prices are really, really low. They're really depressed because of the Chinese effect. But that's really risky, and a lot of volatility comes with that. Same thing with Didi. All these companies. I invested heavily in Didi because, from a fundamental standpoint, Didi is the Chinese version of Uber, basically. If you go to China, you can't get an Uber. They don't let Uber in the country. They don't let Facebook in the country. They're not like the black community. They say how the black community, anybody can go into the black community and make money in the hood and then take money out. The Chinese government doesn't allow that. They don't allow just anybody to come into their community and take money out. They know that that's a bad strategy. So basically, Uber was not allowed to grow in China. So Didi became the Chinese Uber, and basically Didi came out and they did an IPO. It looked really good. All the experts loved it. The growth was extraordinary. But then again, they immediately, right after Didi was released, or became an IPO, the Chinese government immediately launched an investigation into Didi. And what it was that they had told Didi, they said, we highly recommend that you don't go public. And when in China, when they make a recommendation, it's not like in the United States. In the United States, the SEC makes an investigation. People just kind of laugh sometimes. Elon Musk makes jokes about the SEC on Twitter. He doesn't make jokes about the Chinese government. He makes a lot of money in China. He will never make a joke about the Chinese government because they take that stuff very seriously. In fact, the Chinese government literally, I don't know if y'all remember this, but there was a meme going around where people were showing how the president of China, Xi Jinping, looks like Winnie the Pooh. And the meme was like getting real popular and circulating, and they banned Winnie the Pooh. They literally banned Winnie the Pooh in China. So you can't, if you wear a Winnie the Pooh t-shirt in China, I guess they'll lock you up or fine you or something. I don't know. So that's how serious they are. Like they're really kind of gangster with it. So basically, when Diddy did not take their recommendation, right? You know, it's kind of like when the mafia guy knocks on your door and makes a recommendation that you pay them for protection. They basically, as soon as Diddy went public, as soon as they made all this money, these billions of dollars on the market from people like me who invested in the company, they immediately did the investigation, and they also made a rule that said during the time that you are under investigation, you cannot take any new customers in on your app. So they killed their growth. They basically shut them down, and and so since that time, Diddy stock has been in the toilet. The investigation is getting worse. They're doing this to other companies. Then a couple of days later, they did this to the whole Chinese education market because they claim that their students are studying too hard or something, and they don't want pressure on the kids. So they're telling these companies to become nonprofits. And again, they're making another recommendation that they do it, which is a recommendation means you better do it or else. So all these education companies like Tekadu, I was a big fan of Tekadu. I had made a ton of money selling covered calls on Tekadu. And thank God I had sold a big chunk of my position right before. Like the only thing that saved me was I just moved out of that company. That company literally, that stock literally dropped from like maybe $11 a share to like 3, right? Literally. So basically, just be careful with China. This was not true 6 months ago. 6 months ago, there were plenty of Chinese companies I would have mentioned to you and said, yeah, I'm invested here. I'm making money here. This is really going well. Now there's no company in China I'm going to mess with. I'm not messing with anything in China. I'm not messing with anything in Hong Kong, which is now becoming a part of China. They're basically forcing Hong Kong to become a part of China. So China's government, their strategy right now is really confusing a lot of people. So just be really careful about Chinese stocks. Okay, so let's see here. I'm looking at your questions. Let's see. Charles says I've completed the Black Money 102 class. Okay. And I've unsubscribed for next month. Does that mean I can't be a part of this class every Tuesday? Well, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to have something where maybe there's a membership you can get where you can come to class and do the live class. And then if you want to see the archives and stuff like that, then that can be kind of an upgrade if you want to do that. But I like having you in class, Charles. So we can work something out with you. So maybe email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com, and tell them that I said to make a special deal with you, and to, and anybody in here, if you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, just tell them that Dr. Boyce said he really wants me to be in a class, and let them know what your budget is. We're not here to take a bunch of money from people. The big thing that we believe, though, is that we can't take money from anybody else. We can't take money from the government. We can't take money from corporations because our mission is very specific to the Black community, which unfortunately doesn't get a lot of support and funding. So we have to go to the community, and we have to say, look, if we show you that we add value, will you help us in this mission to create a Black-owned university that is 100% Black, that puts Black people first, that's B1 in every way. So that's what we're doing, and we're going to have physical buildings probably within the next year. We're actually looking to get a space in Philadelphia right now, and so and then we're going to go to Houston and LA and some other places. So that's what we're doing, and that's why everything can't be free, but we do as much as we can for whatever price we can. Okay, so let's see here. But congratulations on finishing the class. Make sure you pick up your certificate, because once you complete the class, you're eligible for your degree from the Black Business School. So tell them that you want your certificate and get that and put it on your wall, because it takes a lot to get through Black Money 102. There's a lot of content there. Let's see here. You purchased Black Millionaires of Tomorrow for your kids and thinking of joining the 103 class. Yeah, Charles, just tell them that that's what you want to do, and they can work that out with you. They can get you in there. And also, yeah, I'm glad you're doing that for your kids. Your kids are really going to benefit. Black Millionaires of Tomorrow is designed to put your child at a college level of financial literacy. If you don't feel, once your child goes through all the material and gets the certificate, if you don't feel your child has the financial literacy level that exceeds the average college educated adult, then let us know. We'll give you your money back, because we're that serious. The program's that good. The things that our kids understand are things that 90% of all Americans do not understand, right? So we're training your child to think like a millionaire, and that's what's going to make them successful. Ronnie, Dr. Boyce, my plan is to buy stocks monthly. I have a good amount of money in my brokerage account. I am concerned that my dollars will lose value while it's sitting there waiting. Where can I place my money while I wait to pick up stocks? There are places, Ronnie, where you can maybe look for some of the safer stocks that have a high dividend yield. That might be a way to go. There are even ETFs and mutual funds that focus only on dividend paying stocks. So like a company like, I don't know, let's say a Chevron or something, their dividend yield is really, really high, and it's higher than anything you'll get in a savings account. So that's kind of what I've seen, in terms of people putting their money in places where like they can actually get a yield and get a return. You're right. Having your money sitting there or having it sitting in a savings account is the worst thing to do, because banks don't offer interest anymore, pretty much. I mean, they used to, but they don't anymore. So I would probably put it in some sort of safe mutual fund that focuses on dividend paying stocks. You've got real estate investment trusts out here. If you look up REIT in Robinhood or whatever app you use, you can find a real estate investment trust that pays out their investors monthly. Those are good ways to have something that gives you regular yield, that kind of thing. Do you have a Forex trading class? We are actually creating one right now. We're actually literally right now gathering the experts that we want in the Forex class. I'm going to facilitate the class, but I'm not a daily Forex trader. So I want to find people that we can trust that are B1 that can come in and work with us on this. So that's something that we're going to do. Let's see here. If you block, you should never have bought a stock from China. Why would you invest in them? They're not going to invest in you ever. Okay. Yeah, well, I'll say it like this. A lot of people ask, why would you invest in China? And then to go further, some people say, well, if you're black first, why would you invest in America, in white-owned companies? Well, my argument is basic. It's that, first of all, um, black economic power does not mean isolationist strategies. Being isolationist, meaning that you only do business with black people, you only invest in things that are black, is that's kind of what North Korea did. And you see North Korea is a very poor country because they're isolated. So isolationism is not the way to go, because what happens is that you end up in a worse position than you were even with integration. What you really want is you want to be a viable player in the global economic community where you're participating in trade with the rest of the world and you're benefiting from that trade. You're not engaged in what Dr. Claude Anderson refers to as the doctrine of unequal exchange, where you're giving away everything and getting nothing back. So when you invest in a company that's not black owned, think about it. They invest in your community all the time. They put stores in your neighborhoods. They will own a black hair care store. They do all kinds of things. They'll invest in a rapper, right? They're constantly owning things that come from your community. So why shouldn't you own things that come from their community? If you are a stockholder in Disney, then you have no reason to be upset that Disney's making money selling things like Wakanda and the Black Panther. Right now, the only time you should be mad about it is if you went and bought a ticket and you gave them your money and you got nothing back. But if you're an investor and you see your family wealth go up because Disney released another great Black Panther movie, you're going to cheer for that. So, to be simple with it, don't play or hate, participate. Participate, get in the system. Investing is democratized in America. There's nothing stopping anybody from investing that wants to do it, and you should do it too. Let's see here. So we're gonna act like Neo wasn't a good move. Yeah, we know Shake One. I'm not gonna say Neo is a bad move. Neo may not even be a bad stock to invest in now. I'll just say that remember that when there is a good, when you have a stock that just kind of takes off and does great things, it makes us feel smart. It makes us feel like, yeah, that was a good move. That was the best decision I could have ever made, and that feels that way. And I don't disagree with that. But what I'm going to say though is that remember, every good move could have been a bad move, right? So risk does not just have the upside; it also has the downside. So for every time you have a Neo where you put a bunch of money in and you made a bunch of money and you're feeling good because you put all your money in Neo and it paid off, like you rolled the dice and you won, you also could have rolled the dice and lost, right? That's why there's a difference between gambling and investing. A lot of us that are investing for the first time, there's a lot of gambling culture right now with investing, right? With AMC and GameStop, for example, the meme stocks. That's a gambling culture, because basically what you're doing is you're relying on luck. That you're putting your family wealth on the line, hoping that you'll get lucky and that the stocks are going to take off. And I'm not in any way making fun of you if you're in that category. Have your fun, but just know that's different from investing. The number one rule of an investor is like a quarterback in football. Let's talk about football first. I'm gonna use a football analogy. Can anybody tell me in the chat, what is the number one job of the quarterback in football? What is the most important job that the quarterback has in football? The true football fans can answer that. What's the most important job of the quarterback? I'm going to look in the chat, see if anybody answers. Yep, exactly. To protect the ball. Thank you, Miuna. Yep, to protect the ball. Benjamin King got it too. He knows football also. So the number one job of the quarterback before you do anything is not to pass the ball. It's not to run the ball. It's not to score points. It's not to get it down the field. The number one job of the quarterback is to protect the ball. Because if he doesn't protect the ball, then nothing goes right. No, you can't do anything else if you don't protect the ball. That's fundamental. And so with investing, the same thing is true for you as an investor. Your capital is your football. Right? That is your weapon. That is your tool that's going to help you achieve your goal. So your number one role, this is how wealthy people think. This is how millionaires and billionaires think. Their number one goal is to protect the ball, which means that, sure, you could tell them, yeah, if you go put, you got $1 million in the bank, if you put $1 million on Neo, that could become 3 million. They're going to hear you, but then they're going to say, well, what's the chance that things could go bad and I could lose my $1 million? Because if I lose half my $1 million, I'm going to be really mad, right? So they're not going to go chase waterfalls. They stick to the rivers and the lakes that they're used to. Like TLC used to say, millionaires are not out here throwing Hail Mary passes and half court shots. They like to shoot layups and free throws because they know that gives them a good chance of growing their wealth slowly, right? So I'm not telling you to avoid the meme stocks. The meme stocks are fun, and there are some ways to make money. I've made some money on meme stocks. Sometimes I feel like gambling a little bit. I'll say, hey, let me buy some AMC and sell some options and see what's going on here, right? So I've made a few $1,000s from that. But when it comes to my real capital, my generational wealth, I'm not going to put all that money into GameStop. Are you crazy? Like no, my wife would kick my butt, right? So just be very careful. Let me see here. Disney also got sued for the Black Panther. Did they? I didn't know that. Let me see here. Okay, I'm looking for more of your questions here. By the way, if you're inside the chat, put your question in the Q&A section, and I can see your question there more readily that way. And also, if you want to leave questions for me that I'll definitely answer each week. On Tuesdays, we meet Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com. Those who are listening online, the first month is free. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. All right, so let me see here. I'll answer a couple more questions. Is Bitcoin a wise investment now, being that it's so expensive? I like Bitcoin just because I like the fundamentals. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are great investments, so I invest heavily there. Ask Dr. Boyce, are you going to do bundles for the financial workbooks? Okay, well, Gerald, so if you're having trouble logging into Black Money 102, go to email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. We have a whole support team that's available to help you with any and all questions. So that's support at theblackbusinessschool.com. They can take care of you. Are you going to do bundles for the workbooks? Yeah, if you go to financialworkbooks.com, there are bundles for workbooks and flashcards we've created. That's financialworkbooks.com. And that's good for your kids if you want your kids to learn with flashcards. We actually have Black people on the flashcards because we want your children to associate wealth with Blackness. I grew up at a time where, a lot of the people that you saw that were doing well financially were white people and or Asian people or whatever. And I feel like kids need to see Black people that are doing well at an early age. And so that's what led us to create the financial workbooks and flashcards. So it's financialworkbooks.com. Marion, Dr. Watkins, your class to learn about how to buy and sell options. Yeah, that's stockoptionsmasterclass.com. Stockoptionsmasterclass.com. So if you'd like to learn stock options, you can go to stockoptionsmasterclass.com. Let's see. Next question here. Okay, next question is okay, I'm looking here. Bitcoin is gambling, says Sailing Stuff. I don't think it's gambling, but I do think that crypto should not be more than 5 to 10% of your portfolio. I'm not telling you what to do, but that's what I do, and I don't believe in putting all your money in crypto. So when I hear stories about football players that they got all their money in Bitcoin, that are like getting their whole salary in Bitcoin, honestly, I don't agree with that. I'm not going to say that it's stupid, but that's the first word that comes to mind, to be honest with you. But sometimes when I use words like that, people think I'm being uppity and mean and stuff like that. And I have to work on that. Sometimes I say what's exactly on my mind and it upsets people. But I'm going to say that I would not do that ever. I think that that's a very bad decision because Bitcoin could crash at any time. Now, I do think that taking 10% of your salary and investing it in Bitcoin I'm not mad at you for that, as long as you have other investments. So that's extremely important to do. Okay, 86 says the stock options masterclass is great. Highly recommend. Well, thank you for the recommendation. On the URL stockoptionsmasterclass.com. And by the way, everything in the Black Business School has a 30-day 100% money back guarantee. So if you're not happy for any reason, don't worry. Don't be afraid that, oh, they're going to take my money and it's going to, they're going to give me garbage. And no, we don't give garbage, because you can just email our people and let them know what happened and they'll give you your money back. So there's no risk to you whatsoever. Bitcoin has no real world value. Um, well, that can be debatable. That can be argued. I think it does have real world value, but the way you might see value might be different from the way I might see value. I see value in a lot of things. Most wealth, most people don't know this, but most of your wealth is not financial. Most of your wealth has nothing to do with money. Your relationships actually are a form of wealth. I can make that argument very easy. Basically, when you have a bunch of people together, what happens is that you have more sharing. You have the sharing of ideas, you have the sharing of resources, you have the sharing of you have trade that occurs, and trade is wealth. Like, that's all. That's where wealth comes from. That's why London became the richest city in the Western Hemisphere, and the first city to have a population of over 1 million people, was because one reason. They had one reason. They had a river, the Thames River, that goes right through London, and the people would come down the Thames River and they would trade. So when you bring people together and you bring together trade, money is being made. That's why Black people. That's why relationships matter so much. For example, our film. We're going to show our film on Thursday. You can go to blackmovienight.net. And that film is about Black people having healthy relationships. Because one thing that people don't understand is there's a reason why during slavery they did everything they could to keep you from having healthy relationships, because they said that if they have healthy relationships, they gain both wealth and power when you do that, because unity is a form of wealth and a form of power. And so they made laws to say, you can't get together, you can't love each other, we want you to hate each other, we want you to fight all the time, we want you to snitch on each other. And that keeps you divided, which doesn't just impact your power, it impacts your ability to actually accumulate resources. The Chinese government does that. They did that in Hong Kong when they were trying to control Hong Kong. They passed a law that says if you gather in groups of 3 or more, then we're going to arrest you. And they did that. They claimed that they did that because of the pandemic, to keep you safe. But pay attention. What happened then was that the power of the masses was diluted. Those million people that were in the streets a year before the pandemic, they couldn't do that anymore. So suddenly China started passing national security laws that basically they were incarcerating all the leaders, everybody who was leading, the push for democracy in Hong Kong. A lot of those people are in jail now. There are professors who just advocated for freedom of speech who got life in prison. Like, that's how crazy it got, right? So ultimately, when you're talking about wealth, coming together is a massive kind of wealth. If you ever want to get wealthier and you don't have any money, come together with other smart Black people who are B1, who are dedicated to working hard to achieve a common objective. You literally have made yourself wealthier just by getting along with that Black person next to you. You make yourself wealthier when you get along with your wife. That way you now have 2 incomes instead of 1, and now you're not out here struggling like a lot of our single parents are. No disrespect if you're in that category. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just telling you that's kind of what the data shows, right? If you are getting along with your siblings, then you and your siblings can come together and form a business, help each other out. You can loan money to each other. You can trade with each other. You could form businesses with one another. You create wealth. I was just talking on the phone with 2 of my daughters about creating businesses together. So because we're together and we're getting along as father and daughter, that allows us to talk about ways we can build together economically. I bring my resources to the table. You bring your resources to the table. So I'm really telling you guys, and join us Thursday night if you want to watch the second leg of our movie. We're making Black-owned movies because we believe deeply that Black people must control a segment of the movie industry to control our own image to the world. We're doing exactly what the Jewish community did 100 years ago when they built Hollywood. So we're building a Black Hollywood. We're putting our own money behind it. We're making the latest installment of this. We have a film series called The Black Love Blueprint, and the latest is called Till Death Do Us Part, where we scientifically study couples that have been married over 30 years, and we bring the couples in and we ask them, how did you do it? How did you get along in a world where so many Black folks are just committed to fighting each other, right? So anyway, feel free to come out. It's blackmovienight.net. All right, so let's see here. Amari says, Dr. Boyce, do you see Chinese companies bouncing back after the economic warfare with the United States? I don't know. That's the hard part. Nobody knows. I don't know where this is going to go. You may want to have I'm not telling you what to do. This is not investment advice, but You know, I'm tempted to have a small position in Chinese companies just in case the smoke clears and these companies start to rise, because I believe that American greed will push these companies up. As soon as they have any indication that it's okay, the coast is clear to invest in China, these stocks might move up because they're so depressed. You know, you look at a company like Alibaba, which in my view is every bit as good as Amazon, and Alibaba's stock is like body slammed. And you know, it's like, gosh, you know, what if the government backs off and leaves Alibaba alone? Well, then that price might wiggle up, you know, another 15-20%. And it might still be underpriced because you still got that risk. You've always got that risk now. You've got a new, what they call a risk factor, which is the Beijing government. You got that risk that they're going to pop in and just start messing things up. And you know, but the price is higher than it was before. That might be your best investment. So maybe a little bit of investment in China if you're feeling froggy and you want to take a little bit of risk. But I'm not going to mess with China. I think that there are plenty of good companies in America and beyond that don't have the overhang of a government that is entirely completely unpredictable. The Chinese government is as crazy as Donald Trump, and I'm not a fan of any of that. I want my money to be safe. Let's see here. Can you please add more Forex courses to the Black Business School? Yes, we are doing that right now, Akila. So you will get an email. I'm working with my team, our program director, one of them who actually helped us with our last crypto class. Which, by the way, you can now, if you want to see the recordings of that class, you can go to cryptoinvestingmasterclass.com. She's actually working to gather our experts that are going to help us with the forex. So excuse me, we're going to dabble into forex and also day trading. So that stuff is coming up. I don't do day trading, but I understand it, you know, because my background. So I'm going to facilitate. I'm going to bring in experts and let them kind of do most of the talking, and I'll kind of fill in the blanks, and that's how we're going to run that class. All right, so let's see here. Are there any firms preventing trades with China though? None that I know of. But one of the things that I do know is that there are a lot of people now advocating that Chinese companies not even be allowed to list in the United States, that they literally delist all the Chinese companies, just boot them out. That's what people are now saying, which is very interesting to kind of hear that, because I've never heard them talk like that before, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if at some point that does occur, because the other thing with Chinese companies is that they just like to lie. They like to lie. You know what they remind me of? They remind me of this guy that was on my track team in high school. And I'm not gonna say his name because a lot of people in my hometown know me, but they used to call him the lie guy because every story he told was always a lie. He was all, you even know somebody like that who just lies all the time, like it's a habit, like they have to lie. He would just lie all the time, and so you never believed anything that he said because he just was determined to be a liar. And he hit me up again on Facebook like 20 years later, and I was like, I don't know if I want to talk to him because he's probably just a bigger liar than he was when we were 17 years old. The Chinese government loves to lie, and or the government lies and the companies lie. And in the United States, one of the things that holds together our financial markets is that companies are forced to disclose information, and they're not supposed to lie. It's illegal. They cannot lie. They're, you know, it's not supposed to happen. And so the Chinese companies, a lot of people are very skeptical because the data they might provide, they don't trust it. They don't trust the accounting records. They don't trust that they just kind of fake it. They do a real good fake it till you make it kind of thing. And I honestly wonder how deeply embedded that is in the culture, because if you go over there, you'll find like counterfeit everything. You'll find, like, you know, Rolex watches and Air Jordan sneakers, and everything's fake, fake, fake. You know, Gucci bags, and they're just like, whatever, like, we don't care. So I don't know. I have no idea. Renee Jackson, I'm not available for Thursday night. How can I watch all the past and present Black movie night films? You know what? What we're gonna do actually, and if you go to, I can't remember the URL, but I'll send out an email on this. But basically, with this film, if you come and watch it live, you can watch it for free. Afterward, you know, there'll be a fee. It'll be reasonable. But we're gonna store all that, and you can go back and observe all that content. So this is the premiere, right? We're doing the premiere now. So the you know, the past sessions are not available, right? But after the premiere is done, which is 6 weeks, we're going to go ahead and make that into, I'm not going to say a class, but something where you can just click on it, and there's a small fee, and you can watch everything that's there, as well as all of our other movies. And there is a space where we have all the movies that we've made and all the Black movie nights and everything else. And I just can't remember. I think it's the Black Lecture Series. I think it's. Let me see. Let me double check. Let me check, because we have all these URLs. We get individual URLs because we want to make it easy for you to find stuff. But I know we don't do everything perfectly. So if you notice that too, then Please forgive us. We're trying to figure it out. Yeah, if you go to the blacklectureseries.com, there's a ton of stuff in there actually, in terms of lectures I've given, black movie nights that we've had, films that we've made, and it does have a monthly fee if you want to do it monthly, $39 a month. Actually, it's discounted from 99 to 39 a month, so it's dropped by 60%. Or you can do a lifetime access, or you can pay in monthly payments, or whatever you want to do. But yeah, the blacklectureseries.com. I'm looking at it right now, and there is a ton of stuff in here. Um, and if you want to see the films and you don't find the films in there, just email the support team and they can help you get access to that. But yeah, there's a ton of good stuff in here. Actually, I'm looking at it. It's a really good program. So yeah, that's the blacklectureseries.com. So feel free to take a look at that. Okay. Let's see here. Can you supplement your income? Let's see, as invest if you are on a fixed income. Yeah, Gerald. If you're on a fixed income, what you do is, if you still want to invest, figure out a way to make sure your expenses are beneath your income, and then have a percentage of your income that you invest. What I believe is that if investing is important to you, which it should be, I would take out my investment money first out of every month, when you get your income, take out your investment money first, and do that first, and then pay your expenses, and do the other things that you want to do. A lot of people invest or save the money that's left over after they finish paying bills and doing whatever. I believe in the opposite. I believe that you should prioritize your investing and your saving, because that's your financial security. And there's nothing more important than your financial security. So that's my 2 cents. Um, let's see here. Let's see. I don't. Let's see. I don't think he's looking at the YouTube chat. Well, I just read what you said here, so I did actually look at the YouTube chat. Let's see here. Looking for simple questions here. Should I take my money out of my investing with China? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying that's what I'm going to do. Benjamin King, do you believe that the way Black people act toward people like you and other Black scholars trying to help the community is reminiscent of the different supporters of Malcolm and Martin? When I think about how Black people react to people like me, it's a mixed bag. I'm a radical kind of scholar. I find my ideas internally. I don't look to the world to tell me what to do, because I think the world in many ways is doing things wrong. And that comes from an extreme amount of confidence that comes from the fact that when you get a PhD, you're not a person that's supposed to read books. You're supposed to also write books, right? You write the book, you come up with the new idea. You're supposed to push the frontier and push the boundary, and make the world grow intellectually. Growth is painful. Growth is not comfortable. And so ultimately, when I come back and I say things like, I question the entire civil rights movement and what it did for Black wealth. Well, right there, I'm going to alienate and upset a lot of people, and I know this, and I accept that. That's okay. And then also, or when I come back and I say, well, how do you expect your community to do better when you've got a multi-trillion-dollar industry called hip hop music that is literally preaching to your children all the ways for them to destroy themselves, literally, like giving them a blueprint on self-destruction? How do you expect that to lead to anything that's productive long term? It's anti-family, it's anti-wealth, it's anti-woman, it's anti-life, it's anti-health. It's drug addiction, it's killing, it's throwing your money away, it's disrespecting women, it's all these crazy things that, again, and hating women is anti-family. Like, that's how you destroy families, is you get the men and the women to hate each other, right? And so these are things I have confidence in these ideas because I've thought them through. So but what happens though is that when you speak like this, you better have your own platform. You better be your own boss. I can't go on mainstream television and say these things. I can't go to a lot of Black media outlets and say these things, because I truly believe that a lot of these ideas, these things that we're saying, the people that are going to understand these ideas the most are people who aren't even born yet. I believe in the year 30, I'll be better understood in the year 2090 or the year 2110 than I am right now. It's just like, and I think about my Marcus Garvey. You look at the things Garvey was saying in 1920, people, 80% of all people were like, what are you talking about? Like, this is crazy, But 100 years later, we look back and we say, wow, he had the right idea. He was right. Dr. Claude Anderson, same thing. So that's how I kind of view it. So what tends to happen to someone like me is I have a lot. Yeah, sure. I've got people out there that are just steaming mad, that are really upset, and I don't blame them, because when I hear an idea that doesn't make sense to me, I get mad too. It's called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when you hear something that's so outrageous to you that you just your first reaction is to reject the idea. But what I also see is I went to breakfast yesterday, and and I was in a restaurant full of mostly white people, actually, and two brothers came up to me individually, like they were sitting at separate tables, didn't even know each other, and and each of them came up and were talking about how they were so inspired by the things that I talk about on this platform. One guy said, he said, I bought my first house because of you. I started my business because of you. The other guy literally, he called me an economic god, and I was like, okay, I'm not a guy. like I don't know. Let's not go that far. But I appreciated those kind words, because that told me that there are some people that are really getting it. And when you're talking about true leadership and critical thinking skills and the ability to be ahead of the curve, the masses will never be ahead of the masses, right? The average guy will never be above average, right? So the people that really are seeing these things, in my view, are the people that are above average. These are the people that are leading the masses. The masses may not understand everything. Sometimes people have to catch up. It's no different from 2006, when I was talking about things in 2006 that everybody's talking about now. Everybody's talking about investing in wealth and real estate and all that now. Go back to 2006, 2007, when I started doing this stuff, and look at how many people there were that were actually listening to that kind of message. It wasn't very high. So it's okay to be ahead of your time. You just have to have a lot of confidence, because because you're not going to get a lot of cheerleaders all the time, and you're going to get a lot of people that will swear up and down that what you're saying is wrong and crazy and stupid and everything else. And I just don't listen, because I know that this is right. Right? This is proven by science in terms of how people build wealth and get power. All right. So okay, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and let you all go. We've been here for about an hour, and this has been a lot of fun. And don't forget, every Tuesday we do this. If you want to leave questions for me, or view the whole curriculum, or see all the stocks that I like for this week, I just put something in there yesterday, actually, with 5 stocks that I really like. Feel free to log in at theblackstockmarketprogram.com. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. And also, don't forget that Wednesday nights we have our book club, our Powernomics book club, where we're reading Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. And if you'd like to join that, now that's free. You can join that and get access to my life class at blackkeystogreatness.com. That's just a gift from us to you. So you can go to blackkeystogreatness.com. So I hope this was helpful. This was real. I had a great time talking to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you make $1 trillion. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what's right for your kids. And I promise you that if you're consistent, you will rise above the pack, and your children will definitely rise above the pack. Keep being consistent. You got it? Give me a yes in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. If you follow me. All right. Okay, guys. So have a good day. I'll see you soon, and I love you guys. I'll see you later. Peace.